Welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I am your host, Dr. Melissa Mann. Join me for conversations about possibilities and tools for having more joy, more play, and way more of you. What would it be like to wake up every day with a wild enthusiasm for living? Hello and welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Mann, and today we're going to be talking about the F word, meaning forgiveness. So if that applies for you or someone in your life and you think they would benefit from this podcast, please go ahead and share this. So this is a topic that I have been looking at for a long time, and also something that I've really been owning and diving into lately. So as a psychologist, people sort of hate the topic of forgiveness and of even wanting to look at forgiving somebody who's wronged them, mostly because it has this connotation that if you forgive somebody, you're saying that what they did is okay and that you are condoning it, that you're saying this is just fine, that this person did this to me and I don't want to do that. And I always tell people you don't have to forgive anybody until you're ready to forgive them, but it's not for that person. You don't ever have to tell them, you don't have to reach out to them and let them know you're forgiving them. And it's not for them, it's for you. Because when you hold anger at somebody, towards somebody, or even towards yourself, you're the one who suffers. And the other person usually has no idea that you're still holding anger towards them or resentment towards them, that you are letting it affect your daily life. Usually people have no idea. So when you choose to own the possibility of forgiving somebody, you're actually doing that to set yourself free. And it's something I've looked at a lot because if you've been listening and following along, I've been looking a lot at how to truly open my heart chakra. And I've gone through lots of different modalities and ideas and rituals and all sorts of things in the process of opening my heart chakra. And one of the things that I've been really playing with and acknowledging is anywhere that there is anger in my heart, anywhere that I have been holding on to resentments of somebody, is creating a wall, is creating a closed offness in my heart. And I'm acknowledging more and more where there's little things that I've sort of tucked away and not really looked at and not really been open to acknowledging where things are still keeping me stuck, because they're so subtle and they're things that are old, like really old. And that comes up with clients in sessions all the time, where people will say like, that's a really old thing. I'm over that. That's not bothering me anymore. I don't even think about that anymore. That doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't something in that still that you're holding on to at the subconscious level, that it's keeping you from living your greatest, fullest life and having your heart open so that you can give and receive love at your full capacity. So one of the things I've been playing with is just sort of running through my life and going like, okay, where is there still anger? Who do I still need to forgive? And when you ask yourself that question, sometimes somebody will pop, right? It's like, oh, I know I'm still angry at my father, or oh, I know I'm still angry at my ex-boyfriend, or oh, I'm still angry at that girl who bullied me in third grade. Some of those things will pop up for you and you'll be like, yes, that's the person I need to forgive. And that's easy. That's the easy part. And I'll tell you how to do that. But the other part of that is sometimes it's less obvious. There are things that you're like, well, that doesn't bother me, or that never bothered me. So one of the things that I've done for myself, and you can do this in the way that you get like a yes or no answer. I play a lot with muscle testing and pendulums, and you can also just even like, if you get a sense of lightness, it's a yes for you. or if you get a sense of contractedness, it's a no. And I've been running through ages of like, do I have anything that I need to handle from age, 20 to 30, or even go back down from your current age. And if you like, for me, I'll muscle test where I lean forward if it's a yes, and I lean backward if it's a no. It's easier if I'm standing up. It works if I'm sitting down. And you can kind of play with that of just if you like stand with 2 feet on the floor and like really center yourself. I usually like hold my hands at my like solar plexus, so like right kind of like under my chest, and see like, do I lean forward when I ask a question or do I lean back? So if I was like, okay, is there anything or anyone still keeping me stuck, trapped, somebody I need to forgive, somebody I'm harboring anger towards from the ages of 30 to 40? We can start there. And then if you get a yes or a no, okay, then you can break it down. If you get a yes and it's like, okay, 31, 32, 33, you kind of pick your age. And if you land on an age, you're like, okay, well, what happened at that age? And that will give you some indication. And I've done this all the way down to childhood. And I did it the other day, knowing I've been kind of doing this. And I went through and wrote big forgiveness letters to an ex-boyfriend and a family member and some various things in my life that I was aware of that was keeping me trapped and stuck. And then I was like, I don't know what else. There's still something there. There's still someone that I need to let go of resentment and anger towards, and someone that I need to forgive for me. And I don't know what it is. And I got 2 ages. I got 16 and 7. And I looked at like what happened at 16, and it kind of broke that down. And I was like, oh, this is actually about like a sort of a brief thing still with towards. And I wrote a brief letter to him that I did not give him. This is just a letter for you to get out your feelings. And then age 7 was the big one. And my parents got divorced when I was 7, and they later remarried each other. That's a whole story for another day. But at that time, I never felt like I was sad about it or really upset about it. And maybe I don't remember it super clearly, but I then had this whole memory come back of my mom crying on the phone to me. And I remembered that moment in a totally different way. I don't know that I'd ever even had a memory of it cognitively before. And I got this whole awareness on how I never allowed myself to be sad or to be angry because I had to hold space for her because she was sad and my dad was sad. And I was holding space for everybody else, and I never got to feel my feelings there and tears. And I wrote a big, long letter, and it was really helpful because I was finally able to address one of the things that I just thought I was kind of cold and it just didn't affect me. But now I can see where I just didn't have the space to allow myself to feel at that time. So what comes up might surprise you. It might be things that you're like, I don't know, that never bothered me, or I would never really was like super upset about this thing that occurred. But when you get to it from an energetic space, you may realize that that's not true at all. There may be something else that has kept you sort of limited without you even realizing it. And whoever this is, and there's probably more than one person or more than one incidents in your life where there is some anger, some resentment that needs to be released. The thing I've been doing is this. I've been really starting by just acknowledging any energy cords that are still between us. And I think I did a whole podcast on how to cut cords. So you can go back and listen to that. But the first thing I've done is just acknowledge all the energy cords and just ask for them to cut between me and that person. All the things that are negative between us. And even if this is a person that's still in your life and you still want in your life, you can still cut cords from them because all the positive cords, love and light and positive like energies between you won't go anywhere. You're just cutting all the cords that are negative, that are icky, that are old and fraying and or smoky or gunky, all of that energy, you can just ask to sever off. And from there, I've looked at like writing down as though I'm writing them a letter. And it was interesting for me because when I went to write a letter to an ex-boyfriend, I did not realize how much anger there was still. I knew when somebody said to me like, "Oh, you need to do this." I was like, "Yes, I know that's who it is, but I don't really know why." I've done tons of work around this, and I don't know why I would still be hanging on to anger all these years later. And I started to write, and all of a sudden, all of this anger came out. All of the things that I had felt like I'd never really gotten to say, or the things that I had sort of turned in on myself and made myself wrong for. Now, from that space of having cut the cords, of having created distance, I was able to be like, wow, no, I actually am really pissed off of all of these things that happened when I was much, much younger. And I was able to write all of those out before I was ever able to go to a space of I forgive you. But I had to go through that first. So it was long. And I don't know, it took me 30 or 40 minutes, but it was so good because there were all these feelings that I've been holding deep in my psyche that I had no idea were there even. And once I got them out, I was like, wow, like I actually was so much angrier than I realized. And I've been holding on to that. And from everything that occurred and everything that happened way back then, I forgive you now. And I release you. And I release me of holding on to this anymore. And from this space, now that I've acknowledged all the anger, I'm able to get to a true space of forgiveness where I can forgive him and I can forgive myself too. Because in most situations, certainly not all, there's more than one person at fault. We often are holding on to anger and resentment towards ourselves in the way that we handled something with that person, or that we've sort of turned things on ourselves or made ourselves wrong for the thing that we're angry at. And a lot of times when it comes to forgiveness, if you go through and you do this for all these other people, don't forget to include you. Where are you still angry at you? Where have you decided that you really messed something up? That when you look back on your life, you're like, oh God, if I could just do it over, I would fix this one thing I did when I was this one age, or with this one person, or I wish I would have said this differently, or I wish I wouldn't have spent the money on this thing, or moved to this place, or whatever it is, whatever you're holding on to that you're still regretting is often anger at yourself. So once you've already, you can start with you or you can start with everybody else, wherever you want. But one of the things I've really looked at is sometimes you clear out all the gunk. You're like, yeah, I was angry at this person. I was angry at this other person. And I've now worked through all of that. Okay, well, now let me look at me. Like, where am I still angry at me? Where am I still holding resentment at my own choices? Where am I still harboring guilt? And to start to really take a minute and maybe an hour and write yourself a letter, forgiving you for whatever transgression you think you committed, and also for not choosing to love yourself more, for not choosing to see your value or your worth before anything else. Because often we decide that we did something wrong or bad, and we hold on to that so strongly, and we berate ourselves and we are mean to ourselves. We say awful things to ourselves. And sometimes that's the thing we really need to forgive ourselves for, is not the thing you did, but the way you treated yourself after, and the way you've maybe treated yourself always. And how many mean, awful, horrible things are you saying to you every day? Or if you actually allowed yourself space to forgive you, you would open up something so much greater. And this is where we start to have true self-compassion and kindness and ultimately self-love. And when we can love ourselves, it allows us to love everybody around us that much more. And that's the goal anyways, isn't it? Is to start really having more love in your world for yourself and for everybody around you in the world. And again, this doesn't condone bad behavior. This doesn't condone somebody abusing you or hurting you or doing something that was horrific to you. None of those, this forgiveness is not about that. It's about being willing to set yourself free and being willing to not allow that thing that occurred at some point in your life to still have control over you, to still have a hold on you, to keep you from being the energy that you actually are, from being the light that you actually are, from being the for being everything that you actually came to the planet to be. But we go through sort of these different things in our life, and they're the things that we cling to, and they hold us back. And sometimes it's hard because we're like, I don't even know if I want to let go of that because it's part of my story. It's a part of how I got to be here. And it's so interesting if you listen to people and you start to listen to people talk about their stories on, well, this thing happened to me when I was this age, and that is just part of who I am or how I got to be here or who I became. And it becomes so important in creating our identity that we won't let go of it, even if it would be for our highest good. And that's where that forgiveness piece really comes in, is if we want to hold on to our abusive childhood, or we want to hold on to the ex that, treated you badly, or want to hold on to, the boss you had when you were this age that did A, B, and C. And that's part of your story on how you got to be where you are today. So often we won't let it go, not fully. We won't really truly forgive because we're still holding on to it. We don't know who we are without it. And the thing is when you forgive somebody, when you are willing to really cut cords, forgive, let it go, and allow your heart to open and to start to break down the walls and barriers that have held you hostage, all of those stories that felt really important and really relevant for your identity, they start to fall away. And it isn't as though you have amnesia. You don't forget that it occurred. It just doesn't have that charge anymore. It doesn't have a hold on you anymore where you then feel like you still function from that place. If we have something that occurs in our life, and then we're always functioning from that experience, then we are thinking it's protecting us in some way. Often we're like, well, I had to learn that lesson, and now I know that I'll never let that thing happen again because I'm still holding that thing right in front of my face, so I can't forget. But the thing is you can hold on to the lesson. You can know what the energy of a scam feels like. You can know what the energy of abuse feels like. You can know what the energy of somebody having negative interest towards you. You can know what the energy of that is without having to still be holding on to the anger of the thing that occurred. Instead, ask for the lesson. Yeah, I'll remember this. I'll remember this energy. I'll remember the lesson on the thing right in front of my face so I don't forget. I'll still remember what it is later. I don't need to carry around I'm trying to come up with a grand example. Think about crystal or something, right? So I don't have to carry an amethyst in my backpack with me all the time, a big heavy amethyst, to know another amethyst when I see one. I already learned that information. And now if I see something that matches the energy of an amethyst, I'll know again that that's an amethyst without having to carry it on my back at all times for comparison. Does that make sense? So you can actually let go of, set down, let go of all the baggage that you've held on to, and still have taken in those lessons and allow yourself to move on. And that's what forgiveness really does. And it's something that I feel like gets tiptoed around so much because nobody wants to, I guess, be accused of saying, like, you just need to forgive this person that was so awful to you, because there's so much pushback on that. There's so much, well, then you really don't understand what I went through, or that's invalidating. But none of that's true. The more I'm diving into this topic, the more I'm finding that it is a key to actually set yourself free from all of the past, everything that has held you back, that all the past energies, all of the stuckness. And when you're willing to do this, it will start to change your life. It will start to change your reality. The things that I thought I was past, I was over, but I would still have intrusive thoughts about, would still kind of creep back up. I would, anytime my mind would go blank, a lot of times that's when I'm exercising, I'd have a thought about a person and be like, why am I still thinking about that person? That is so old. It is so in the past. And once I did this, that's when that went away. That's when I was like, oh, that was actually what was required then. And now I can actually be free of it. So it does take time. I'm not going to tell you this is like a super quick, easy little thing. Like it does take time to sit down and really get present and write that letter of forgiveness, and then do whatever you want with it. Keep it, burn it, tear it up into little pieces. Just don't give it to the person. That's really unnecessary, and that kicks up all sorts of new things. But you do this for you. You let this go for you, and see how your life starts to change. And even if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't think that applies to me. I don't have anybody I'm still holding resentment towards. I don't have anybody I still need to forgive. I'm telling you, I was feeling the exact same way. And I still knew it. I still knew there was something there, even though I couldn't even find it. And that's where I started doing the muscle testing to find the ages that I must have still been holding on to things from, and play with it. And whether you want to use a pendulum for, a yes or no, or do the lean forward, lean back. I know people who do different muscle testing things with their fingers. Whatever works for you, or even if you just get a hit, if you just go through an age and you're like, yep, that somewhere in there, and just start to trust it. But anything that pops into your head, there's probably something there for you. And even if you're like, I don't even know what that would be or from what, like, just see, is there anything there? Is there anything I need to forgive this person for? You may find they don't need to be big, long letters to everybody in life. But, it might be something small, and it might only take a couple of lines. So play with it, see what comes up, but give yourself the space to do this. And if you're finding yourself resistant to what I'm saying, there's something in this for you. Because for the longest time, I had a resistance to talking about forgiveness or to looking at it, or there was this thing from days of church. And, forgiveness has all sorts of religious stuff in it. Like, take all of that out. This isn't about that. This is about you, for you to get yourself free from all of the other gunk that's occurred in your life, and ask for help. It's okay to ask for, whoever you pray to or see as a higher power. You can ask spirit for help, source, or your spirit guides or your angels. As you go to do this, you can ask for their support to be with you in it, to help you have awareness, and to help you get free of this. So that isn't to get rid of that. It's more of anywhere you're doing this from doctrine or from, it's because somebody else said you should, I mean, I realize here I am telling you, hey, try this, but you know what's true for you. And if it's not time now, that's okay. Save this for another time when you feel more ready for it. But trust what you know, and see what you can release, and see how your life starts to actually change from this. So I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate me, rate this podcast, and leave a review. And I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.